Right here, if you guys would please make sure to continue to keep yourself muted throughout class, that would be fabulous. If you'd like to share your video, you are welcome to, but you do not have to do so whatsoever. Um, all right, let's get started here. Hi everyone, I'm Hallie. I hope you are doing well today. This is 45 minutes of yoga. I have a few announcements besides that waiver that I just read to go over with you before class starts. The first and primary thing is that if you have any questions that come up, feel free to use the chat function. Again, keep yourself muted during class. At the end of class, you can unmute yourself if you have any questions, but it's just to not disrupt anyone else who is participating in the class. The chat function is great if you have any questions that come up during class, and I can't answer them during class. However, I will be able to address anything that comes up at the end of class. I've got some accessories around me. Now, accessories and props are wonderful in yoga, and I will be using some throughout class, but I will demonstrate everything that I'm doing with and without the props. So if you don't have these things, don't worry about it. You don't need to have anything. You don't even need to have a yoga mat. But I've got blocks here. Blocks are a wonderful tool to bring the floor up to you. You can basically use anything that is sturdy between 2 and 8 inches. That includes reams of paper that you might have at home, or toilet paper rolls, paper towel rolls, soup cans, paint cans. There's lots of stuff that works instead of a block. Besides a block, I've got a fuzzy pillow here. A pillow can be used in place of a traditional yoga bolster. A couch cushion works, like a bed pillow works, a throw pillow works. I really like to use these similarly to a block to kind of bring the floor up to you, but also for Shavasana at the end. Shavasana is the meditative portion, which we will be doing today. We are doing a traditional yoga class. I like things of comfort around me in my Shavasana to help me get into that meditative state a little bit easier. The other thing that I have over here is a strap. Now, a strap is a wonderful tool if you are on the tighter side. A strap links things together. And there may be an occasion where I demonstrate something with a strap. What you could use instead of a strap is a belt, a tie, an old phone cord works instead of a strap. But again, if you are on the tighter side, and this is something in yoga, something that you want to get into, a strap can be really useful tool for you, especially starting out. And again, that's something that I can happy to answer any questions that you may have at the end of class about, strap work or kind of anything that pertains to you specifically. The last item here is that I am pregnant. So the one glaringly obvious thing that you will see that I can no longer do is I can no longer lay flat on my back, but I use my pillow and my blocks to prop myself up. So that is the one thing you'll see that I'm doing different. If I have to make modifications, which are very few and far between because yoga is so prenatal friendly, I'll let you know that I'm doing them. I'll let you know that I want you to do something slightly different than what I'm actually doing in this virtual session. But again, you likely wouldn't even notice that I'm doing them, but I'll let you know. All right, wonderful. So that's all of my announcements to start. If you have anything on your mat, or if you don't have a mat, don't worry about it. We are just going to find a comfortable position seated here. Now I'm cross-legged, crisscross applesauce. You don't have to be. You can have your legs out straight, have them out wide. You could be sitting on your knees, kind of just finding a place that's comfortable for you. If you have tight hips, this pose probably won't work so well for you. And then just taking a moment to find center, find a place where you feel grounded. You don't feel like you're about to tip over. You don't feel uncomfortable in any way. And then we're going to kind of work up. We're taking a moment to look at our posture because this is something that we're going to repeat throughout class. So we like to start off with some nice, perfect posture to carry that on. Engaging your core up and in, just finding some length through that lower and mid back. Rolling your shoulders back, squeezing those shoulder blades together. And then head should be on straight. So if I'm not straight in front of you, please stop looking at me. Your eyes should be at this kind of like horizon line. You shouldn't be looking up or down or left or right. Just looking straight ahead, finding that place where your head is on center. Just taking a couple breaths here. In through the nose and out through the nose. If you feel like you have a lot of emotions built up, maybe some stress, anxiety, worry, we all have them. But if today, this afternoon, something particular is going on, you can always do some clearing breaths throughout class. I love these personally. And all that is breathing in through your nose. And then as you exhale, breathe out through your mouth. And as we're just sitting here kind of not doing anything, but paying attention to our breath, hopefully you feel that connection with your breath and your body and your mind. Noticing if while you're seated here, if anything hurts or feels uncomfortable. What I'd also like you to do is just take a moment to separate this space and this time from the rest of your day. Letting go of anything that came before this class. Not thinking about anything that needs to come after. Really using this time to nurture not only your body, but your mind. Making space for yourself in this crazy world. And all together, let's do 3 clearing breaths. So take a nice deep inhale through your nose. And a big exhale through your mouth. Good, again, inhale, filling up. Exhale, clearing out. One more nice deep inhale. Big clearing exhale. Wonderful. We're going to start with some upper body stretches here. Left hand comes down to the ground or your mat. Right arm comes up and over. Now, as we're here, I'm bending into my left elbow. I'm kind of using it as a hinge to go higher or lower. A lot of times I see people fall into their shoulder a little bit. What we want to do is we want to bend that elbow up and down to find space. You don't want to push that shoulder forward or back. That would be falling into that shoulder joint. We want to use our muscles here. So we want to bend into that left elbow and then really reach over with that right arm. You should hopefully feel a nice side body stretch here on the right side. You're going to feel it somewhere. It just depends where you are the tightest. And throughout this class, I'll give you kind of the top 1 or 2 places that you should feel these stretches and these poses and the muscle engagement. However, each body is different. So if you're feeling it somewhere else, it could just be that you're tighter in that one location and your body's pulling from that location first. Good, let's straighten that left arm if you have it a little bent, and then we're just gonna reach across, right arm parallel to the ground, starting to ease ourselves into a little bit of a gentle twist here. So you may feel some engagement on your core, your obliques, which are the sides of your core and your abs. We're just gently going in here, breathing. Good, let's go into a gentle seated twist. Right hand lands on your left knee. Left hand goes all the way behind you. I want you to inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, twist towards the back of your room. Now this is one place where I'm gonna stop here to make sure that baby is nice and safe. What I want you guys to do is I want you to take another nice deep inhale in, and an exhale, try to really ring out, really twist towards the back of your room, seeing how deep you can twist through your core, through your torso. Wonderful. Let's untwist. Same thing, other side. Right hand down, left arm up and over. And again, I'm using my elbow, I'm using my muscles here to kind of bend and hinge to deepen the stretch. I'm not using that shoulder. And I'm really reaching over here, getting that nice side body stretch. And again, you're gonna feel this wherever you're the tightest. If you're tighter in your shoulder, you might feel this in your shoulder instead. Good, slowly straightening out that right arm and then reaching across. Again, we're just easing into this gentle twist. Your left arm is straight, parallel to the ground. You might start feeling this in your obliques. And from here, we're gonna land that left hand on your right knee. Right hand goes all the way behind you. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, twist. Same thing, I'm gonna leave you guys behind here. This is where I stop to make sure baby is nice and safe. But I'd like you to take another deep inhale in and an exhale, try to really ring out, try to twist as far as you can. And let's rotate back to center. Let's move to our lower body, get a few stretches there. So bringing the soles of your feet together for bound angle, your knees go out to the side. Now this is actually a wonderful place for blocks. If you have any hip or knee issues, you can always use blocks or pillows actually underneath your knees to help pad and help protect here. So that's a great option. I know a lot of people have knee and hip issues, so make sure we're protecting our joints at all times with this practice. Now from here, I want you to sit up nice and straight and tall. Roll those shoulders back. Again, that same thing that we did in the beginning, kind of that little bit of a posture assessment. Shoulders back, core engaged, head straight, and then start to hinge forward from your hips. We don't want to curve down and curve forward. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for that nice posture and muscle engagement here. What a lot of people don't know about yoga, especially if you haven't done it before, is that in every single pose, we want to be engaging our muscles. So even though it seems like we're just stretching here, we're actually having nice core engagement, our shoulders are engaged. We're working those muscles at the same time we are stretching them. And you'll actually get deeper stretches if you're engaging those muscles. Good. Hopefully you're feeling this in your inner thighs, your hip flexors. And just as you're here, maybe you come forward a bit more, finding space, maybe using your breath to sink a little further. Wonderful. Let's slowly come up. Keeping your left knee bent in, right leg goes out straight. I want you to inhale both your arms up. Exhale, start to hinge forward from your hips. Now, if your hands don't reach your foot, don't worry about it. Just relax those hands down next to your leg. I want you to flex through your foot though. What that means is that your toes are pointed up towards the ceiling. You're engaging your leg muscles here. You should feel your calf engage. You should feel your quad engage. You should feel your hamstring engage. Just like I was talking about, we're working those muscles at the same time we are stretching them out. If your hands meet your foot, great. Use those hands to pull back on your foot, deepening the stretch here. You should feel this in your hamstring. If you feel this more in your lower back, it could be that your lower back is just super tight. But what I would recommend you do is come back up to seated and try that hinge forward again. Sometimes instead of hinging, we kind of just reach from our arms. That's not what we're looking for here. If you're reaching from your arms and curving your shoulders, you will feel that more in your lower back. But it could also be just that your lower back is super tight. It's really this hinging motion, keeping that back nice and straight, just like we practiced in the beginning, coming forward as far as you can, and then adding those arms in. Good, we're gonna revolve this. So revolved head to knee pose. Right hand goes to the inside of your right calf. Your left arm comes up and over. So just like those side body bends that we did in the beginning, those side body stretches, we're trying to open up our torso towards our side wall or whatever you have to the side of you. I have that nice glider there to my side. And then we're gonna be reaching over here, hopefully feeling this in your lower back. That's the aim, that's the goal here. But if you're tighter in your shoulder, you may feel this in your shoulder first. Again, it just depends what's going on in your body. But we don't want to be reaching across here. We really want that opening to the side. Wonderful. Let's release seated figure four. This is one of my favorites. So all we're going to do is we're going to lift this left ankle on top of your right leg. Now I'm right above my knee. All right, so we want that right ankle on your thigh. Now your left knee may be really high into your chest. And if it is, it just means that you might have very tight hips. All you'd want to do here is start to release that left leg down. So actually physically using your hands or using your elbows to push down on that leg. If you feel a nice deep outer hip stretch, stay here. You need to do nothing else. If you don't feel anything at all, it means that you have more open hips. So what we're going to do is I want you to bend into this right knee, plant your right foot, and then that's going to bring that left leg towards you for a seated figure four. Now I have my wall behind me, which is supporting my back, keeping my back nice and straight, which is wonderful. If you have a wall, use it. Why not? It's there. If you don't have a wall, hands go down next to your hips, rolling your shoulders back again, paying attention to that posture. Hopefully getting this nice deep outer hip stretch here. And then just breathing. Again, this is a place where I like to flex that left foot, right? Engaging all of my muscles, strengthening while stretching out. But as always, this is your practice, right? I'm guiding you through this, but if you don't want to engage your muscles, if you just want to feel the stretches, then you don't have to flex through your feet. You don't have to have that muscle engagement. Good, let's slowly release out of this. And then we're just gonna move right to the other side. I want you to bend that right knee in. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, remember we're hinging forward, coming all the way forward with our body for head to knee pose. Try not to reach with those shoulders, curving back through your lower back. It's really keeping that back straight, coming forward. Same thing on this side. If your hands don't meet your feet, just relax them down. Flexing toes up to the ceiling, feeling that nice muscle engagement, feeling this in your calves, your quads, your hamstrings, and breathing here. And you can go as far down towards your leg with your torso as you want, as long as you feel that nice hamstring stretch. And again, you may feel this a little bit in your lower back, but it shouldn't all be in your lower back. Good, let's come up, left hand to the inside of that left calf, right arm up and over. Again, opening that torso towards your side body, really reaching across, or not reaching across, really reaching overhead here. Hopefully feeling this in that lower back. But again, you may feel this in a slightly different place. It just depends on your body. And wonderful, let's release that seated figure four, which I love. Right ankle on top of that left leg. Again, this right knee may be into your chest. All you want to do is actually physically push down here, and you may feel a nice deep stretch in that outer hip. If you do, stay there. There's nothing else you have to do. If you don't feel anything at all, that means your hips, again, are a little bit open. And it's important to notice if maybe one side's a lot tighter than the other side. All we're going to do here is bend into that left knee, plant that left foot. Again, I'm fortunate to have this wall, sometimes fortunate to have this wall behind me. Sometimes it gets a little bit of a hindrance, but for this pose, definitely fortunate. Rolling my shoulders back, nice and straight here. If you don't have a wall, hands just go down next to your hips, rolling those shoulders back, and then getting this nice deep outer hip stretch. Breathing into this space. As I was saying, noticing if one side's a lot tighter than the other side. If that's the case, which it happens to be the case for a lot of people, one side of their body will be a lot tighter than the other. Usually it's the dominant side because you're just using it a lot more than your non-dominant side. So if I were doing this home alone, I would stay on that side that's tighter a little bit longer than I would stay on the side that's a little bit more open. And that just helps even out your body over time. Wonderful. Let's slowly release. This is a nice deep stretch, so come out of it nice and slow. And we're going to move into a tabletop position. So shoulders over elbows over wrists, hips right over your knees. Now take a moment to really line up here. Really find some length through your back, engaging that core up and in. And you can make small adjustments as you're here. Typically, people have a shortened tabletop position. You should not feel like your back is curved at all here. Once you're here, let's go into some cat-cow. So I want you to inhale forward, pushing out through your head and through your butt, arching through your back. And then exhale, curving up, getting all of your air out. Head comes down. You can look between your knees. And then just move through these. Inhaling forward. Exhale, curving up. And these are your cat-cows. And it's also our first vinyasa flow, really. Vinyasa flow is connecting breath with movement. So we're just connecting breath with movement here. And you can pause in a cat or a cow if that feels good for you. Now, if while you're here, you notice that your knees feel a little wonky, you may want to pad under your knees. You could grab a pillow, a blanket. You could, if you have a yoga mat and don't have anything else, you could double over your yoga mat. It's very nice to keep your knees and joints padded to protect. I actually got 2 yoga mats stacked on top of each other, so my knees are nice and protected here. And then if you'd like, you can add in some organic movement, doing some hip circles, some body circles, neck circles. Encourage people to close their eyes here and just move organically, move freely. Really not paying attention to needing any sort of rhyme or reason here. We're just moving, noticing how it feels in our body. Good. Let's come back to our tabletop position. We're actually going to pop into a child's pose. So your knees are going to go to the edges of your mat. Your big toes are going to come together behind you. First, everyone, let's walk our hands back and sit back on your heels. Now, if your hips don't reach your heels, that's okay. It just means that your hips or your knees are really tight. And this, again, is a great place for a pillow to pad in between the two. But if your hips don't reach your heels, all you want to do is just gently, as much as you can, use your hands to kind of guide your body back and down. Trying to get a little bit of space in there. Now, if your hips do reach your heels and maybe you want a little bit of an extra stretch here, you could release your hands and arms back behind you. That would give you a deeper stretch through these quads. You may feel it in your ankles and your shins. And just breathing into this space. And then from here, if you release yourself back, or if you're just upright, walk your hands and arms forward, resting your head against the mat. And this is going to be your child's pose. You want to try to keep your back nice and straight here, really lengthening out through your fingertips, just stretching out those arms nice and long. And child's pose is going to be your place of rest. So if you need to take a break at all during the practice, child's pose is a wonderful option. Now, it doesn't work for everyone. So if you're in child's pose right now and it's uncomfortable, child's pose may just not be for you, and that's totally okay. You could come up back to tabletop. You could just lay down on your back. There's tons of options for reset. But if you notice that maybe your heart rate's high or your breathing's out of sync, or maybe you notice that you're thinking about something outside of this practice, an email, a to-do list, or something, that's when I also want you to come into child's pose to reset your mind. Good, and let's do one clearing breath here all together. A nice deep inhale through your nose and an exhale through your mouth. Good, let's move up to our tabletop position. We're gonna make our way into downward facing dog. So your toes are gonna go under, your knees are gonna lift up off the mat, and your hips are gonna go up and back into your downward facing dog. Now my feet are going to be at a very wide distance, but traditionally I want you to have your feet at hips width distance apart. So my feet are just a bit wider than they would typically be to accommodate for baby. Now we're going to move through a little bit of flow here. So let's take a nice deep inhale in, and an exhale, walk your hands back to your feet. Inhale to a flat back, squeezing your shoulders, engaging your core, coming halfway up. That nice flat back that we practiced in the beginning. Exhale, fall forward. Slowly inhale, rise all the way up through stand, reaching your arms up overhead. And then exhale back the way we came. Hands come through heart center all the way down. Inhaling to that flat back again, squeezing those shoulders, engaging the core nice and long. Exhale, hands walk forward into your down dog. So that's our flow. That's our first flow to start. It's a nice modified flow. I love it just to warm up the body a little bit. Nice big inhale. Exhale, hands walk back to your feet. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, rise all the way up, reach up. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, flat back. Hands walk forward, down dog. Good, let's move through it a couple more times. Nice big inhale. Exhale, hands walk back to your feet. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, rise all the way up, reach up. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, flat back. Hands walk forward, down dog. Good, nice big inhale. Exhale, hands walk back to your feet. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, rise all the way up, reach up. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, flat back. Hands walk forward, down dog. Wonderful. Let's move through a sun salutation egg, or a couple of them actually. So the first time through, I'm going to modify it. If you've done yoga before and know what you are doing, feel free to not modify. Nice big inhale. Exhale, walk, step, or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale to that flat back. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, rise all the way up through stand, reaching those arms up overhead. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale again, flat back, squeezing those shoulders, engaging your core. And then exhale, we're gonna plant our hands, step back into a high plank position, nice and straight with that body. Now this first time through, I said we're gonna modify. So we're gonna pop our knees down to the ground, bend into our elbows, coming halfway down. Your elbows should be nice and close to your side body. And then we're gonna shift our shoulders up towards the ceiling, hips come forward into a cobra. And then we're gonna make our way back into our downward facing dog. Good, so if that felt good, stick with that. The next time through, I'm not gonna modify. For those of you who want a little bit of a more intense practice, nice big inhale. Exhale, walk, step, or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, rise all the way up or reach up. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, flat back. Plant your hands, step back, high plank. Elbows in, halfway down, low plank. Upward facing dog. Again, we're shifting those hips forward, shoulders roll back into your downward facing dog. Good, let's move through one more time. Nice big inhale. Exhale, walk, step, or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, rise all the way up, reach up. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, flat back. High through low plank. Remember, knees down is a great option. Upward facing dog or your cobra. Downward facing dog. Good, taking a couple breaths in this downward facing dog. Feeling nice and strong here. Good, we're gonna walk, step, or jump to the top of your mat. Inhaling to a flat back. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, rise all the way up through stand, reaching your arms up overhead. Exhale, bring those hands to heart center. We're gonna make our way to the ground, but we're gonna go through squat first, which is one of my favorites. So our feet go out wide to the edges of your mat. And actually the arches of your foot, like your toes, should be off your mat. That's how far apart your feet should be. Hands are at heart center. We're gonna take a nice deep inhale. And an exhale, we're gonna sit all the way down, dropping those hips down as far as you can. Then using those arms to push out on your knees for squat. Now, if you came down and your heels came up at all, it just means that your feet were not wide enough apart. So you need to just stand up, adjust your feet out a little bit wider, and then come back down. If your hips are tight, You may be kind of stuck here. That's okay. It may be really intense. You're gonna feel those quads work. We wanna just try to drop those hips down as much as you can. Breathing and creating space. Good. From here, we're gonna land in seated. So right hand comes behind you, left hand comes behind you, and your butt comes down to the mat. Wonderful. We're gonna make our way to lying on our backs. Now, as I said in the beginning of class, I unfortunately can no longer lay flat on my back. So I just create a little prop-up situation with blocks. If you have blocks and a pillow at home, grab it, join me in it. It's really nice and comfortable. I have one block on a medium level, one block on the lowest level, and then I just place my pillow on top. If you're just laying flat on your back, that's great. I'm a little bit jealous that you guys get to lay flat on your back, but please bring with you anything that you're going to use for Shavasana. A sweatshirt, a pillow, anything of comfort that you may want during our meditative portion so that you just don't have to get up and get it. Once you're laying down on your back, the same kind of thing that we did in the beginning of class. We're going to find center, find grounding, just like kind of wiggle your hips a little side to side, finding a place where you feel comfortable. Nothing feels out of place. If you have like a sweatshirt underneath you, kind of like just inch it out, make sure it's not crumpled in any way. And then from here, let's bring both of our knees into our chest, rocking side to side or back and forth. Just a little bit of self-massage. And you can go in whatever direction feels good for you. Just make sure if you are doing circles, you do go in both directions. If you feel a spot that feels really good, to stop and pause. Stop and pause. Let your body open up. Self-massage is a wonderful tool and a big proponent of foam rolling and ball rolling. All of those things with yoga, with stretching, can really be so good for your muscles and your body. Good. From here, we're gonna go into our spinal twists. So both knees are gonna fall to the right side, and then your head is gonna open up to the left side. I'm gonna stay curled up on this right side just to protect baby. Nice deep spinal twists aren't super safe, but what I'd like you to do is open up that left shoulder, look over your left shoulder to get a nice spinal twist. Maybe start to close your eyes. Some nice even inhales and exhales here. Just relaxing that body. We're in our last few poses before Shavasana, so we really want to just ease ourselves into that transition. Good, and let's rotate through center, both knees to the left. I want your head and shoulder open to the right. Again, I'm just going to curl up all the way on my left side. Good, rotating back to center. Let's hug those knees in one more time. Take one more moment to rock side to side or back and forth. And then let's expand out into this big full body stretch. Arms reaching up overhead, legs out straight, maybe pointing and flexing your feet, maybe doing some ankle circles here. Just feeling nice and long. Taking a nice big inhale. And then an exhale, releasing your arms down by your sides for for Shavasana. So as I spoke about in the beginning of class, Shavasana is our meditative portion. Traditionally in yoga, you'd be laying on your back, legs splayed open, palms up towards the ceiling, just relaxing your body. However, if there's a different position that feels good for you today, you can always move into that. You can be laying on your side. Maybe you have a couch or a bed nearby that you'd like to move into. Or maybe you'd like to do this meditation seated. Whatever feels right for you and your body. And then just making your way there. Once you're in a comfortable position for your body today, just doing a body scan from the top of your head all the way down to your feet, relaxing each and every muscle. Once your body is relaxed, start to relax your mind, attempting to let go of all thoughts and feelings. If you notice a thought start to come into your head, just try to let it slip away. You can imagine it shutting behind a door, evaporating into the air, or just disappearing. Slowly taking a deep inhale and a big exhale. Slowly starting to move your fingers and your toes. Bending your knees and curling up on one side of your body. Slowly pushing all the way up to seated. Either resting your hands on your knees or bringing your hands to heart center. Together, let's take one last deep inhale. Big clearing exhale. And with gratitude, namaste. Thank you all so much. I hope you enjoy class. I'll stay on the chat function for the next couple minutes. If you have any questions, I am happy to answer anything that may have come up during class or after class. Otherwise, I'm Hallie. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again. Have a great afternoon. Thank you.